Are you planning to open a bank account in Georgia? Today, I will walk you through the regulations and step-by-step procedure for opening Georgian bank accounts. The banking sector of Georgia is stable and quite advanced. Citizens of almost all countries can use banking services in Georgia. They can open accounts, have deposits, make transactions, withdraw money, and so forth. Each bank in Georgia has its internal regulations. If you decide to move here, you will need to open personal or corporate bank accounts. It is without a doubt that the banking sector is rapidly growing in Georgia. So today I will give you detailed information about the Georgian banking system. My name is Lika Tsintsabadze. I'm a business and immigration lawyer in Tbilisi, Georgia, and you're watching an exclusive miniseries with Nomad Capitalist. The first step is to decide which bank to open accounts with. All commercial banks are accredited and controlled by the National Bank of Georgia. The service is at an advanced level and internet banking efficiency is one of the best in the world. If you manage to activate the account with all services, you will not have a problem making transfers remotely with internet banking here in Georgia or outside of the country. While there are many banks in Georgia, two stand out in terms of stability and number and branches that they have across the country. These are the Bank of Georgia and Tbilisi Bank. Both of these commercial banks are listed on the London Stock Exchange and have very considerable amounts on deposit. You can open bank accounts personally or through power of attorney. If you decide to do it with POA, it needs notarization and legalization or apostille, depending on the country. In this case, a representative will also need a certified and apostille copy of the client's passport. According to the latest bank policies in Georgia, the procedure for opening a bank account has become more complicated. Banks have introduced a two-stage verification system, according to which you first have to submit KYC forms and other required documentation for the review of your application, and then, after passing the stage, if required, prepare additional documentation. Some banks have already estimated the number of fees, while some still do not. For example, for a corporate account opening, Tbilisi Bank reviews applications only in case the client pays a non-refundable 500 GEL. As for physical persons, it's 50 GEL. The Bank of Georgia has not yet such fees, but they are asking for more connections and ties with Georgia while opening corporate bank accounts, like if you have an office in Tbilisi, if you have Georgian clients and employees, and so forth. The bank account that you will open is mixed in GEL, USD and Euro, but you can add any other currency that you wish to have accounts in. While opening a regular bank account, you will get internet banking, DigiPass, application or token, and cards, Visa and MasterCard, and even American Express card. All bank accounts in Georgia use the international IBAN format, which makes it simple to transfer funds into the account without a problem. Funds sent into the account arrive extremely quick, especially within Georgia. These two banks, Tbilisi Bank and the Bank of Georgia, own separate entities called Concept in the case of TBC and Solo Bank in the case of BOG, which deal with premium accounts only. Here you can get your private banker, discounts, favorable interest rates on deposits, and fast and efficient service. So I will strongly suggest you open bank accounts in one of these entities. For opening personal accounts, you will need passports, Georgian phone number, filled out KYC form, documents that prove your source of wealth and satisfy anti-money laundering laws. This could be anything from client contracts to foreign bank statements. Keep in mind that US and UK passport holders, you may need to provide your taxpayer number and fill out W-8 or W-9 forms. For opening corporate bank accounts, you will need beneficiaries' passports, a Georgian phone number, a company's full incorporation documents like charter and extract, and filled out KYC forms. I also want to share with you some key points to keep in mind while opening Georgian bank accounts. First is Georgians do not share information under the CRS rules, which means that Georgia will not automatically share your Georgian bank account information with your government. There's no need to have a deposit to open a bank account. If you deposit enough money for the premium service, you will be assigned a private banker. Also, Georgia banks have minimal service fees compared to Western banks. There are no capital controls, and you can send money anywhere as long as it is not on a sanctions list. Georgian banks have efficient app-based and online banking. You can make international transfers through mobile banking. You may need to send the requested documents to the IML department though. The interest rates in GEL are high at 11.5%, and the Georgian lari is getting stronger every day. The deposit rates in the USD and Euro are also higher than they would be in America and the EU. Now, banks will give you an answer to your application in 5 to 10 days, but sometimes banks reject the application and you can always try in another bank. But why do they reject it? What are the reasons? Generally, banks do not have to disclose their reasons for rejecting or approving accounts. They always say it's due to bank's policy, but some important factors need to be considered, like where do your payments come from. If all or most will originate from outside Georgia, you are most likely to get rejected. The second is, what are your business and activities? Complex or suspicious business types that are not familiar to bank employees may be rejected more frequently. In case you cannot provide documentation for your source of funds or source of wealth, they can reject you also. Some banks will also ask you if you have connections with Georgia, but this happens while opening a corporate bank account, because personal ones are much easier. Sometimes banks open accounts, but once the transaction is made, they close it. This happens because clients cannot provide the purpose of the transaction, or the origin of the funds is offshore jurisdiction, and so forth. Once you go above 50,000 USD, the risks increase. Many people have managed to consistently send and receive large amounts without an issue, but sometimes for some clients, banks close or freeze the accounts due to the lack of information. Overall, opening Georgian bank accounts is not hard when you have documentation ready and someone to assist you with the procedure. If you have an account in Georgian banks, please leave a comment down below and share your experience with us.